Hi everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen. I'm going to show you today how to make this adorable little unicorn out of gum paste. And don't forget to like and subscribe because I like when you subscribe. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Going to start with the body. You're going to take your white, roll it out into a big fat kind of cylinder shape and then round off one end so it becomes more like a bullet, I guess. You don't have to use white, whatever color your unicorn is, but I'm using white, so there you go. Yeah. Once you get your nice rounded off at the top shape, you're going to take a lollipop stick and shove it on down through there. You can kind of see if you do it yourself, and even in here, it loses its shape a little bit, kind of becomes pudged out. Just roll it again to get it back nice and slender and trim. Because I don't have a fat unicorn. My unicorn is very into cardio, so, she's in good shape. Okay, this is going to be the head. It's a big ball. You want the head to be a good size because we're going for the cute look. So, yeah, make the head real big and baby dollish. You're going to take a small part of it and kind of pinch and separate it out. That's going to become the muzzle of the unicorn. You can see right now just by pinching it, it kind of slopes into the muzzle. I'm using this tool to sharpen the edge where it attaches to the head so that it's just more defined and less, gently graded. It's more of a sharp angle that goes into the muzzle. So yeah, you don't want a pimple look. You want more of a button on top of something look. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say here. So just make sure your head stays nice and round. It's going to become a little flat on the back, and if it does, don't worry. We're going to cover it with the mane, so don't freak out about that. It's fine if it becomes a little flat underneath where the muzzle and the neck will be, because that's where it's going to sit on the body anyway. So a little flatness there is going to, if anything, look more appropriate for the muzzle. Okay, so just, yeah, keep rubbing it out, smooth it out, pinch it out, press it out, separate your muzzle, make it as big or as little as you want. I did a smaller one just because I'm going for the more cute factor. Using the back of my knife blade, I'm going to press into the muzzle and give her a mouth. She is a happy unicorn, so the sides are slanting upward and then straight across the front, as you can see. And then I realized she's a little bit happier on one side than the other. That's not a problem. Just stick your knife blade in and then kind of lift up. You can kind of see what I did there. Just twist it up a little bit. It will fix it for you, so you don't have to freak out and start all over again. Just make sure your lines are deep enough that they stay and they're not going to just kind of fade out if you let it sit and harden. All right, now we're going to add the eyes. We are going to use the balling tool that I've got there, and I'm going to press in pretty good and make some deep eye sockets. And just roll it around. She's got to have nice big eyes because we're going for that whole anime Lolita kind of look. She's just big-eyed and full of wonder and magic or something, unicorn stuff. So make sure it's nice and big. It doesn't matter really how deep you go because we're going to fill it in anyway. So that's not as much a concern as it is that you just have a good size and make sure they're pretty balanced. You don't need her being cockeyed too. I'm using the back of my veining tool. You could use your whatever stick you got around, your handle for your paintbrush, whatever. Just poke two little circles into her muzzle for her nose. You don't want to go crazy with the details on the nose. You want to keep it basic so that the attention will be drawn more to the eyes, which we'll do later. Okay, these are going to be her front legs. Super basic on the legs. The people who were ordering this wanted to give it more of a teddy bear or stuffed animal kind of a body. So that's why we're doing the very basic cylinder for the torso, and now these guys, simple things for the legs. Just make sure it's fatter at the bottom and thinner at the top. Because of how fat the leg is, I'm trimming it maybe about in half so it'll lay up against the body a little more and won't stick out quite so far because it looked a little weird. If it's too long, like I just did there, trim it off the bottom, add some water, and then you can press it into place. And there you go, unicorn leg. Nice and easy. Gotta love it. Gotta love the basic ones. Not a lot of details. Same thing for the next leg. Match it up. Make sure it's the same length. Trim it down so it's not too fat and doesn't stick out too far. Make sure they are the same length. Trim it off if you need to. Add some water. Press it up next to it. And voila. There you go. Unicorn legs. Boom. Done. See that? See that? Isn't that good? Yes. Make sure you got lots of angles there. Okay, these are going to be the back legs. Again, we're going for more of the stuffed animal kind of look, so they're going to be sticking out straight toward the front, kind of wrapped around the body a little bit. But they're exactly the same as the legs we did before, just cylinders, roll them out skinnier in one end, fatter at the other end. Do try to make sure they are the same length, because that just makes it look better when they're not different lengths. Make sure the ends are nice and round, or as round as you can get to, and flat as you can get. Since these are going to be showing, I'm standing it up and then rolling it and kind of pressing down a little bit into my plate there, or the glass that I'm working on, just to flatten it off and round it off nice and smooth. Now, if you're happy with that, trim off on an angle, just maybe halfway down leg, not even a third of the way. You see how I did that there? Just take a little nip out, and then the same thing on the other leg, try to match it up. Trim it off. It's going to go up against the body, so we want it to be a little more tucked in, just like the legs, the front legs, but you want it to stick out. See? So how only part of it is going to be pressed against the body, so that's the part you trimmed off. The rest of it you just kind of leave. And that right there is just a little bit of a, I don't know, a lint or something that stuck to it, so I use my paintbrush to get it off, because white will show every little lint that sticks to it. So you've got to make sure you keep it nice and clean. Same thing with the other leg, press it into place. Once you get the legs in, then attach the head. Just shove it on down on that lollipop stick that was sticking out. You might have to trim it to make sure it's short enough first. But yeah, there you go. She's already, very cute. Get the idea of it. We're going to fill in the eyes now. Take a little ball of gum paste, put it into the eye socket. You got to make sure it's smaller than the eye socket because you're going to press it around and smooth it out and fill it in that way. You don't want her having, like hypothyroidism or anything with the eyes protruding in any way. So you want to make sure they stay, flush with the head or tucked in a bit. And we are going to add other colors on top of it. So again, you don't want it sticking out too far. So no bulgy-eyed unicorns. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take your little ball of white with a little bit of water in there first, shove it into place. Use whatever tool, feels appropriate to you. I'm using this round one. I was using the other one, the veining tool before. Whatever works. Smush it in with your finger if you want. Just smooth it out and round it out. Fill in the eye socket nicely. And there you go. Now you've got two eyes. All right, and then once you get the eyes in place, we're going to add the blue. My unicorn has blue eyes, do whatever color eyes you want. Pink, purple, orange, green, I don't care. Make her look lovely. So whatever color you want. I just was happening to do blue, so that's why I have blue. I flattened it out a little bit before I placed it on, just because I was afraid of pushing too hard and misshaping the white underneath. Turns out it wasn't such an issue. So the other one I'm just going to stick the white ball on. So do it however you see fit. Just make sure your iris is really big. You want to fill in a lot of the eye with the color. I don't know why, but it just is how you do it. It makes it look a little more childish or something. I don't know. You know the look the little girl cartoons have with the big eyes and lots of color in the eyes? That's what we're going for here. So same thing on the other side, like I said. Just another ball of blue. Put it on there. Just start pressing it out toward the sides. You want to fill it in as much as you can. Not as much as you can, but nice and big. You want to fill in a lot of the white. Okay, once you get the blue in, you're going to put the black. The pupil is, again, very large. It's going to take up most of the blue. I flattened this out beforehand because I didn't want to press too hard into the eye or misshape it in any way. So I took a ball of black, flattened it out, and then pressed it on like a little pancake, if you will. Tried to make sure it's nice and even, that the same amount of blue was showing around the sides. The blue and the black are going to come down together and touch in the bottom of the eye, as you can see. You can kind of see there. And the same thing on this side. I have my black. See how slippery it is? A little sucker wouldn't hold still. Press it around, make sure that it's coming down and touching on the one end and that it fills up a lot of the blue and it fills it evenly. Whatever's showing is pretty even on the sides. Okay, make sure it doesn't go past your eye socket because that just looks weird. And there you go. How cute is our unicorn? Now she needs some big, luscious eyelashes because our unicorn is very well endowed as far as eyelashes go. Take your black, roll it out nice and thin and pretty long so that you're going to start about halfway down on the inside of the eye, curve it up and around to about halfway down the other side, at which point it's going to turn outwards and curl up. You see? There you go. Eyelash. If it's, not giving you an easy time and not really staying in place, that's the end of my paintbrush stick. Use whatever you want. Press it into place, shape it into place. Try not to flatten it out too much because that will change the thickness after you roll it. Use a little water and hold it into place. Now, same thing on the other side. It's just a real long, thin piece I rolled. You can see it's tapered on either end. Press it up so it follows the shape of the eye socket. Again, about halfway down on either side is where you want the ends to be. That was not staying in place, so add a little water. Again, there you go. Kick it out to the side. Make her look fabulous. Okay. And we're also going to give her bottom eyelashes. So it's just, again, the same thing. Just a thin piece rolled out, tapered on either end. It's much shorter than the top one. As we're only going to just go to the bottom, around the bottom of the eye, and then it's going to bend out like the top, but just a little bit. So the bottom eyelashes are going to be much smaller than the top eyelashes, but they are still there and still pretty pronounced. Okay, I was having a hard time using the paintbrush because this one is much thinner and finer. So I used my little pokey tool. And there you go. You kick it out a little bit, add a little spot of white for a highlight. Make it nice and round, press it into place. There you go. And I did the same thing on the other side. There's the eyelash already in place. Add your highlight. And there you go. How fabulous is she, right? There you go. Yep, looks good. Okay, very happy. It might be hard to see. The colors I was asked to use are pastels, so I have a very soft purple, yellow, green, and pink. And now we're going to add the hair to our unicorn. Whatever colors you want. Like I said, mine were pastels. I actually expected to use darker colors, but that's what I was asked to do, so that's what I do. Just roll it on out into little hot dogs, little sausages. They don't have to taper too much on the end. Just trim off the edges and then start layering it. In the front, you're going to want to have it coming down over her one eye. You want it to overlap and come down and curl around. These are going to be like the little bangs or little wispies that come free. And it just gives it a lot of character. I had pink, yellow, purple. I tucked a little piece of green in there. And you just, lift it up, press it up into place, whatever. Just make sure you have the little stragglies that stick out because it gives her a softer look and it just kind of completes the look too. It makes her look a little more finished. And then taking your colors, just start filling in the back. Make sure it's long enough that the pieces come down past her neckline down to like her shoulder area. Add some short ones on the top that, as you can see there, kind of stick up and out a little bit so that her hair looks a little thicker. Make sure too when you're doing this, when you look at her from the front, you can see the hair coming down in different colors and, coming out past your shoulders so that it looks a little bit more like a mane. You'll see in a second what I'm trying to say. And yeah, like in the back, what I'm doing here, just make sure you fill it in. You don't need to see any of the white showing. If you have little spaces like that are just kind of awkward, cut your angles on the end so that it kind of wedges right into place. It all fits in there, kind of like Tetris. And then this is going to be the tail. I just took more pieces, rolled them out, stack them up into, a pile. I had a whole bunch of pieces here, and then I just make sure you have one of each color at least. And depending how thick or how long you want the tail, pick your pieces, stack them together, see how it looks. You might have to add another one. You might have to change the order a little bit. Squeeze it together on the end once you get a nice size and nice shape to it. And then just, yeah, press it into place. Use your water. You're going to use the water, of course, to attach it to her body, but also go between the hairs or the different colors so that they'll stick to each other with your paintbrush too. Otherwise, you can kind of see when I'm pressing it, when I let go, they flare out at the end because they all want to come apart. So you're going to want to go in between them a bit in order to make them stay bunched together as well. This again is just like the white. There was a lint that was stuck on there. I just wanted to show that because sometimes things will get on there. If you use clean water on your paintbrush and rub it, you'll get it right off, and then just wipe it dry. I'm going to add 2 little, I guess, paw prints or something to the bottom of her feet. Pads, maybe, even though unicorns don't have pads. Just rolled out some pink nice and thin. Got the right size circle for the feet, and press it into place and make sure you get those air bubbles out because they're a pain if you end up sealing an air bubble in. Then you have to wipe and wipe like I was. And same thing on the other side. Just get your circle, press it down into place. And yeah, there you go. Now we're going to add her horn. I'm taking a lollipop stick and basically ramming it down into her head where I want the horn to go. And I'm making a pilot hole, I guess you would call it. This is white gum paste I rolled out nice and thin. And you could see though that it's skinny on one end and then thicker on the other. This is important when you're doing unicorn horns. Doesn't matter what size you're doing, you got to make sure it tapers. I'm using that lollipop stick, just a little piece that I trimmed, and just stick it in there and start wrapping it around. Just wrap it around, wrap it around. This could be awkward. You know, the top is going to pop off a little bit. It's okay. You're going to take care of that. You just want to get the idea and the effect down first. See? See how it goes? Isn't that lovely? We're going to add water. Once you get it, you know, the idea and the feel right, and it looks like it grades properly, you're going to add water between it all and to it so it will stick. I'm rolling it out thinner because it was super fat. If you are clever enough to get a good thickness to begin with, then you won't have to do this. And you saw that top piece was popping off there. So again, add a little bit of water. Make sure you have water between each layer so that it'll stay together. And then you're going to put it aside for a little bit and kind of let it harden up. I don't think I showed that part because that'd be like watching paint dry. So yeah, just make sure you have a nice shape before you put it aside. Again, I'm rolling it out just to make it more, you know, tapered so it has a better look. Once it's hard enough, you know, you don't want to let it sit forever, for just maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. That's all you need, just enough to be a little bit firm. I'm trimming off the extra so it has a flat base and it's not too long, because when I rolled it out, of course, it gained length. You want to make sure you leave plenty of room at the bottom to stick it back into the head. And I'm going to end up coloring it gold. That's just to get the size and the look to make sure it looks good. I ended up coloring it gold, as you can see there. Now it's gold. I had used some spray that I bought at Walmart. It's just an edible gold spray. They sell the glitter stuff that you can paint on, or the shimmer, or whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Just make it gold or silver, whatever color. I had stuck it in and then used my X-Acto knife to carve around so that it will sit down into the hair a little bit nicer. So you saw how it was sitting kind of on top before, and now if you look at her, it sits a little bit more properly. It sits more into the hair. So now, see, it looks better now, like it's coming out of the hair. Add a couple stars if you want to remain, and you're done. Hopefully you like this. Please check out my other videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye.